Welcome to another video from RCeXtra, and in this video I'm just going to give a quick rundown on the main tools that I use to assemble an RC car from the start. And all the build videos I do, they use pretty much these basic tools, and so yeah, let's get into it. So the first and most important set of tools is right here, and also I guess in this area here, and that's the hex drivers, or some people call them Allen head drivers, that you use to assemble the car. And personally, I like the MIP drivers, which these orange handles and the speed tips as well are all MIP. And the main reason why I like the MIP is their tips seem to wear and last quite a bit longer, and prevents, not entirely, but it helps to prevent stripped heads of the screws. And so, yeah, that's my preference. You can go several routes with this. They make a set here. These three come in a set, which is a 2.52 and 1.5 millimeter. And that covers really most kits that you're going to encounter for both 8th and 10th scale. You're going to need those three hex drivers. In addition, for me, I have this other one, which is a 0.50 inch hex driver. And I have this one because if you run stock classes and you run the plastic, some people call it the pink pinions, and if you run those, they use this smaller 0.50 inch MIP hex driver. And so you'll need to pick that one up. And then if you're going to use power tools, I use this DeWalt gyro for my power tool. Really like that the gyro driver, although it is pretty pricey. But if you plan on using power tools, then you're going to need speed tips. And, if you're on a budget but want to use power tools, you could always forego this handled set and get these speed tips along with, you can buy like a handle. And so then you could put these in a handle and then also use them in a screwdriver to kind of achieve both. And this handle I like because you can also use it as a T, which is kind of cool. But anyway, that's the hex drivers. The next thing you're gonna need for the kit is you're gonna need some socket nut drivers, and you're gonna need a 7 millimeter, a 5.5 millimeter, and a 5 millimeter. And so I have this MIP for the 5.5. And then I have this kit that I bought from Sears. It's a Craftsman set, and it has the 5 millimeter. And then I just threw some sockets in here for the 7. But MIP makes a set with a 5.5 and 7, and then you can pick up that 5 millimeter on your own. And the nice thing about these MIP ones is they're the hex comes like almost right to the tip, which makes it a lot easier to install the small nuts in these kits. So MIP is a great way to go, but you can also look at a set like this from Craftsman if that works for you as well. And then right here, this is a Turnbuckle wrench from Team Associated, and this is 10th scale, and this is the Associated 8th scale. And you can pick that up. Some of the kits, I don't think they do anymore, but they used to include this in all the kits, and this end here can also be used to do the turnbuckles on the 10th scales. So next here, I got this regular screwdriver. It's handy to have this occasionally. I like to pop on the sway bar ball ends into the arms using this, so that's why I have that. And a hobby knife here to cut off flashings for any parts that are on a tree. Over here we got scissors to cut the bag, and you can use them also to cut the body, or like I actually have a pair of Lexan scissors. Depending on how tight of a budget you're on, you can just get away with the scissors. I mean, it's a little harder to get in the tight spaces, but you can get away with it. And then we got a needle nose pliers. Those are pretty handy. And then the rest of these pliers, I would say they're nice to have, but you don't have to have them. These here are a pair of end cutters, which these are super nice. Instead of using a hobby knife to cut off the tree, these are like flush cutters that cut right to the edge of the part. So I really like having those. And then these are some like Hemostat type pliers. And I like to use these to put in the diff pins in a gear diff. Again, you can get away with just using the needle nose pliers, but I use those. And then I got a pair, these actually pop the ball joints in and out, and then they also over up here are shock pliers, so they'll hold the shock shafts without marring them up, which is super nice. Although if you're on a budget, you can use needle nose with, say, like a paper towel or a rag and somewhat accomplish the same thing. And then this here comes off, and this is a body reamer. It's used to cut out the holes in your body. If you don't have one of these, you can use a hobby knife and somewhat accomplish it as well, or you could use a drill and cut those holes out. But it's nice to have all this stuff. And then we already went over the socket set here, and then this is a pair of digital calipers. Not an absolute necessity, but if you're trying to copy a setup sheet, it's super nice to have this. You can pick it up from A-Main or Harbor Freight or Lowe's, pretty much any hardware store. And that wraps up the tools. And then on the lubricant side, you know, most kits come with black grease. So you'll need some grease, but most kits come with that. And then a lot of kits don't come with thread lock, but any parts that go into metal, you're going to want to thread lock those in with blue thread lock. You can buy, if you're an AE guy, Team Associated makes thread lock as well, so you can buy that. And then, you know, the only other must-have fluids is going to be shock and diff oil, and most kits will come with that. And you know, if you're copying a setup sheet, you might have to buy some more. But generally speaking, that's like the rundown on like the absolutely essential tools for the build. And hope you all find this useful. And as I go through my following builds, I'm just going to typically point back to this video, and you can look in the description as well for links to these tools. So I hope you find this useful, and if you do, please like and subscribe.